Why do we chase people who barely text back? Refreshing our phones like our worth depends on 3 typing dots. Why do we panic when one plan collapses, as if a single no just erased our entire future? And why does losing one opportunity feel like losing everything, like the door that closed was the only door that ever existed? If we're honest, it's not just disappointment we feel in those moments. It's fear. Fear that if we don't force it, fix it, or fight for it hard enough, we'll be left behind. But maybe the problem isn't that life is unfair. Maybe the problem is that we were taught that force creates destiny, that if we push harder, text again, over-explain, overwork, overthink, we can bend reality in our favor. So we chase, we cling, we tighten our grip, and the tighter we hold, the more anxious we become. What if the exhaustion you feel isn't from trying, but from trying to control what was never yours to control in the first place? Calm people move differently. They don't run after what's aligned with them. They prepare. They show up fully. They take action. But they don't beg life to cooperate. They understand something most of us miss. Alignment doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to steadiness. Today, we're not talking about passive fate or sitting back and doing nothing. We're talking about how to stop chasing what drains you and start becoming the version of yourself that attracts what's truly meant for you. Lesson 1: the hidden addiction to control. What if the thing you call ambition is actually anxiety in disguise? We don't usually see it that way. We tell ourselves we're just being responsible, focused, driven, but look closer. Over-planning every possible outcome, rereading messages before sending them, checking your phone to see if they replied, replaying conversations in your head at night, forcing timelines in your mind. By this age, I should be here. By this month, this should happen. That's not always ambition. Sometimes it's the mind trying to control uncertainty. Control feels productive. It gives the illusion of safety. If I plan enough, nothing will surprise me. If I think about it long enough, I'll prevent failure. If I push hard enough, I can guarantee the result. But here's the truth most people avoid. Control is often a response to fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of not being enough. The more uncertain something feels, the tighter we try to grip it. Buddhist wisdom makes a powerful distinction here. Effort is not the problem. Attachment is. You can prepare for a job interview with discipline and confidence. But the suffering begins when your identity becomes tied to getting that job. You can care about someone deeply, but anxiety begins when you believe your peace depends on their response. You can build a business with focus and passion, but exhaustion creeps in when you demand growth on your timeline. Attachment to outcome creates suffering, not action itself. The shift is subtle but life-changing. Do the work, release the timeline, show up fully, prepare with intention, send the message once and let it breathe. Attend the interview and walk away with dignity. Build your vision without obsessing over when it should pay off. When you release the need to control the exact result, your energy changes. You become calmer, clearer, more powerful. Because the moment you stop gripping the outcome, you stop living in fear of it. Lesson 2: what you chase often runs. There's a pattern most people don't notice until it's too late. The harder you chase something, the further it seems to move away. The more you try to secure it, the more unstable it feels. And it's not magic, it's energy. When you cling, something subtle shifts in you. You stop choosing and start needing. You lose authority because your mood becomes dependent on someone else's response. You radiate fear without saying a word. In relationships, this shows up as double texts, over-explaining, trying to prove your worth. In work, it looks like overcommitting, saying yes to everything, silently begging for approval. In business, it's obsessively checking numbers, panicking at small dips, making rushed decisions. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin negotiating your value. People can feel it. Opportunities can feel it. Desperation is loud, even when you're quiet. Now contrast that with someone grounded. They care, but they don't cling. They act, but they don't chase. They send the message and continue with their day. They attend the interview and trust their preparation. They build consistently without obsessing over instant results. There's a steadiness to them. And that steadiness is magnetic. This is where Buddhist wisdom cuts deep. Non-attachment does not mean indifference. It means clarity. When you're not blinded by need, you see situations for what they are. You notice red flags sooner. You recognize misalignment faster. You stop trying to force doors that are clearly closing. And because you're not chasing everything, you become selective. You move from choice, not desperation. And here's the identity shift most people resist. Calm. People don't rush alignment. They understand that what truly fits does not require panic. It may require patience. It may require growth. But it will not require you to shrink yourself to hold onto it. The moment you stop chasing what runs, you start becoming someone worth walking toward. Lesson 3. Stop labeling events too early. The human mind hates uncertainty. The moment something unexpected happens, it rushes to assign meaning. This is good. This is bad. This is the end. This is unfair. It happens so fast, you barely notice it. A rejection email arrives, and within seconds, you translate it into, I am not good enough. A breakup happens, and your mind turns it into, I lost the only person for me. A business idea fails, and suddenly the story becomes, I wasted years of my life. But here is the truth, most people never slow down to consider. You are trying to judge the entire journey from a single moment. Your brain wants immediate certainty because uncertainty feels unsafe. If it can label something quickly, it feels back in control. But that label often becomes a prison. Once you call something a failure, you start behaving like someone who failed. Once you call something a loss, you start living as if something was permanently taken from you. Buddhist wisdom teaches two powerful ideas that cut through this reaction. First, impermanence. Everything changes. Second, limited perception. You do not see the full picture. You are standing inside one scene, not outside the entire story. When something painful happens, you are seeing it from ground level. You cannot yet see what it connects to. Many events that feel like endings are actually redirections. The job you did not get forces you to build a new skill. The relationship that ended saves you from long-term incompatibility. The project that failed teaches you discipline you will need later. But in the moment, all you feel is discomfort, so you label it negative and close your mind to its potential. This is where suffering deepens, not because of the event itself, but because of the meaning you attach to it too early. Instead of asking why this is happening to me, ask where this might be leading. That question changes your posture. It shifts you from victim to observer. It creates space between the event and your identity. You stop reacting as if this moment defines your future. Modern culture pushes urgency. It makes every setback feel permanent and every delay feel like falling behind. But life does not unfold in straight lines. It unfolds in layers. You are not behind. You are in process. You do not know the full arc yet. And that uncertainty is not your enemy. It is the space where growth quietly forms. Lesson 4. Detachment is emotional maturity. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood ideas in Buddhism. Most people hear the word and think it means becoming cold, distant, or emotionally numb. They imagine someone who shrugs and says nothing matters. But that is not detachment. That is avoidance. True detachment is emotional maturity. It is not, I do not care. It is, I care deeply, but I do not collapse when things change. There is a powerful difference between loving someone and possessing them. When you love with possession, your peace depends on their behavior. If they pull away, your world shakes. If they disappoint you, your identity cracks. But when you love without possession, you still give fully, you still show up, you still invest. The difference is that you understand they are not your property, and their choices are not a reflection of your worth. The same applies to work. Many people say they are passionate, but what they really mean is that their identity is fused with success. If the project succeeds, they feel valuable. If it fails, they feel worthless. That is not passion, that is attachment. You can work with excellence and still remain steady when outcomes shift. You can strive without tying your entire self-concept to the result. This is where psychological depth becomes important. Attachment is identity fusion with outcome. It happens when you stop seeing an event as something you experience and start seeing it as something that defines you. The promotion is no longer a career milestone. It becomes proof that you matter. The relationship is no longer companionship. It becomes evidence that you are lovable. The business growth is no longer progress. It becomes validation of your intelligence. When the outcome wavers, your identity trembles. Detachment breaks this fusion. It reminds you that you are the one experiencing the outcome, not the outcome itself. You are not the job offer. You are not the rejection. You are not the applause. You are not the silence. You are the awareness behind all of it. This shift changes everything. You can want success without desperation. You can pursue love without fear. You can aim high without panicking over every delay, because your core remains intact regardless of what happens externally. Emotional maturity is the ability to feel fully without being consumed, to care without clinging, to strive without begging, to lose without losing yourself. When you understand that you are not your results, something stabilizes inside you. You begin to act from confidence rather than insecurity. You stop forcing outcomes to prove your value. You start moving with quiet strength. Detachment is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging with life from a grounded center. And when you operate from that center, no single event has the power to define you. You are not what happens to you. You are the awareness that remains steady through it. Lesson 5. Train the nervous system. Most people think chasing is a mindset problem. They believe if they just think more positively, read more books, or repeat affirmations, they will finally feel calm. But chasing is rarely just a thought issue. It is a nervous system issue. When your nervous system is restless, you will chase. You will reach for your phone too quickly. You will send the extra message. You will refresh the email inbox. You will obsess over timelines. You will try to fix, push, control, and secure. Not because you are weak, but because your body is in a subtle state of threat. And when the body feels unsafe, it seeks certainty. Restlessness drives pursuit. It creates the illusion that doing something immediately will reduce anxiety. So you act fast, you react fast, you force conversations, you force clarity, you force decisions. But the relief you get is temporary. Soon, the anxiety returns, often stronger than before. Now notice the opposite. When someone is calm at the nervous system level, they move differently. They respond slower. They pause before replying. They do not rush to fill silence. They can sit in uncertainty without spiraling. This steadiness feels like confidence, but at its core, it is regulation. Silence builds confidence because silence means you are not panicking internally. This is where meditation is often misunderstood. It is not about becoming spiritual or escaping your problems. It is about training your nervous system to tolerate uncertainty without reacting impulsively. When you sit quietly and focus on your breath, you are not just relaxing. You are building space between stimulus and response. A simple practice is a 5-minute breath anchor. Sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to the sensation of air entering and leaving your nose. Do not try to control it, just observe it. Within seconds, thoughts will appear. You will feel urges. You might suddenly remember a message you want to send or a task you forgot. Instead of acting, simply notice the urge. Let it rise. Let it fall. Bring your attention back to your breath. That moment right there is training. You are teaching your system that an urge does not require immediate action. You are showing your body that uncertainty is not danger. Over time, this builds emotional strength. Modern neuroscience supports this. Regular meditation reduces reactivity in the brain's threat centers and strengthens areas responsible for emotional regulation. In simple terms, you become less triggered. You stop interpreting every delay as rejection and every setback as catastrophe. And here is the powerful shift. The calmer you are, the less you force. When your nervous system is steady, you do not feel the same urgency to chase what is uncertain. You can send the message once and wait. You can apply for the job and move on with your day. You can build your vision without obsessing over immediate results. Calm is not passive. Calm is powerful. It allows you to act from clarity instead of fear. And when your actions are no longer driven by panic, your entire presence changes. You stop pushing life to cooperate. You start moving in rhythm with it. The less reactive you are internally, the less desperate you appear externally. And that alone changes what you attract and what you repel. Lesson 6. Trust is active, not passive. One of the biggest misunderstandings about trust is the idea that it means sitting back and waiting for life to magically fix itself. Many people hear trust the universe and translate it into do nothing. They imagine surrender as laziness. They confuse acceptance with passivity. But real trust is not weak. It is disciplined. Trust is active. It means you act fully. You prepare. You show up. You send the application. You start the business. You express your feelings honestly. You put in the effort that is within your control. But once you have done your part, you release the obsession over how and when it must unfold. The problem most people face is not lack of effort. It is attachment after effort. They do the work, but then they hover over the result. They send the message and then stare at the screen, waiting for the typing bubbles to appear. Every second of silence becomes a story. Maybe they are ignoring me. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I am not important enough. In those moments, it is not the message that creates anxiety. It is the waiting. Trust means sending the message and putting the phone down. It means allowing space for response without trying to control it. It means understanding that once something leaves your hands, it is no longer yours to manipulate. This applies to every area of life. You attend the interview and give your best performance. After that, replaying every sentence in your head does not increase your chances. You build your project with consistency. After that, obsessively checking metrics every hour does not accelerate growth. You invest in a relationship with sincerity. After that, forcing constant reassurance does not create security. Effort is yours. Timing is not. And this is where people struggle. We want guarantees. We want confirmation. We want immediate feedback that our actions are working. But life does not operate on our emotional schedule. Some results take time to mature. Some opportunities require patience. Some doors close because they were never meant to open. Trust is the willingness to remain steady even when outcomes are delayed. This does not mean ignoring red flags or refusing to adapt. Trust also means staying open to redirection. If something consistently resists you, it may not be rejection. It may be guidance. Sometimes what feels like blockage is protection. Sometimes what feels like delay is preparation. Active trust requires courage. It requires you to act without needing constant validation. It requires you to continue moving forward without clinging to one specific outcome. It asks you to believe that even if this path changes, you will be able to handle what comes next. When you release obsession, your energy shifts. You stop trying to squeeze certainty out of every situation. You become calmer, more patient, more grounded. You start operating from confidence instead of urgency. And here is the paradox. When you stop staring at the screen waiting for life to respond, life often responds more naturally. Not because you forced it, but because you made space for it. Trust is not about withdrawing from effort. It is about performing your effort with dignity and then letting reality unfold without panic. You move fully, you act intentionally, but you do not beg for outcomes. That balance is power. Lesson 7. Compassion for the version of you that chased. In Buddhist philosophy, growth does not begin with self-criticism. It begins with awareness and compassion. Before you become the calm and grounded version of yourself, you must understand the version of you that once chased, clung, and forced outcomes. That version of you was not foolish or weak. He was operating from fear and ignorance, which in Buddhism are seen as natural conditions of the untrained mind. When you chased someone who was distant, when you tried to control timing, when you held tightly to outcomes, you were not acting out of clarity. You were acting from attachment, which the Buddha identified as one of the primary causes of suffering. Attachment arises when we believe something external is necessary for our inner stability. You chased because you believed your peace depended on being chosen. You clung because you believed security lived in another person's response or in a specific outcome. You forced situations because you thought that without control, you would lose what you desired. This is not a moral failure. It is a misunderstanding of where true refuge lies. Buddhism teaches that when we seek permanence in impermanent things, anxiety naturally follows. The mind grasps at what it wants and resists what it fears losing. In that grasping, suffering grows. Compassion in Buddhism begins with recognizing this, grasping without hatred toward oneself. The Buddha never taught that we should condemn ourselves for being attached. He taught that we should observe attachment with wisdom. When you look back at the times you chased, instead of reacting with shame, you can reflect with mindfulness. You can see that ignorance was present. You can see that craving was present. And you can also see that these states were impermanent. They arose, they influenced your actions, and they passed. Self-compassion means acknowledging that you were acting from the level of awareness you had at the time. Just as a child who touches fire does so out of ignorance, not evil, you acted from a limited understanding of how peace is cultivated. To hate yourself for that is simply another form of attachment to an ideal image of who you think you should have been. Buddhism encourages the middle path, which includes patience with one's own development. When wisdom begins to grow, behavior naturally changes. The new version of you does not chase, not because he suppresses desire, but because he understands desire. He sees how craving creates agitation in the mind. He understands that clinging cannot secure what is impermanent. Instead of grasping, he practices non-attachment. Instead of forcing, he cultivates right effort. Right effort in Buddhism means acting skillfully, without being driven by craving or aversion. This shift is not dramatic on the outside, but profound on the inside. You still love, but without possession. You still work, but without tying your identity to results. You still set intentions, but you release the demand that reality obey them. You begin to trust the unfolding of causes and conditions, understanding that life moves according to interdependent processes far beyond your individual control. The version of you that chased was part of your path. Without that experience, you would not recognize the peace of non-attachment. Without feeling the restlessness of craving, you would not value the stability of mindfulness. Instead of rejecting your past self, you include him in your practice. You extend loving kindness toward him, just as you would toward any being who was suffering from confusion. Through compassion and wisdom, the identity shifts. You are no longer someone driven by grasping. You become someone who aligns with the natural flow of impermanence. You understand that what is meant to arise will arise when conditions are ready, and what fades was never meant to be held forever. In that understanding, chasing falls away on its own, replaced by calm presence and steady awareness. Closing reflection: the version of you that no longer chases. One day, something you deeply wanted will not go the way you planned. A message will not be answered. An opportunity will pass. A door you hoped would open will quietly remain closed. And in that moment, the old version of you might try to rise again. The one who panics, who overthinks, who feels the urge to chase and force and prove. But this time, something will be different. You will pause. You will breathe. You will observe the wave of craving instead of drowning in it. And in that pause, you will remember what you have learned. You will remember that attachment creates suffering, not effort. You will remember that impermanence governs all things and that no single moment defines your path. You will remember that you are not your results, not your rejections, not your delays. You are the awareness experiencing them. Instead of asking why this is happening to me, you will quietly ask where this is leading. Instead of gripping tighter, you will soften your hold. Instead of chasing what resists you, you will continue strengthening who you are. That is the shift, not dramatic, not loud, but powerful. The new version of you does not run after alignment. He prepares, he acts, and he releases. He trusts causes and conditions to unfold in their time. He understands that what is truly meant to remain will not require desperation. And what leaves was never yours to control. If this teaching resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on where in your life you are still chasing. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. And if you want to continue deepening your understanding of Buddhist wisdom and inner transformation, subscribe to Deepest Wisdom for more videos like this. Share this with someone who may need to hear it today. Your journey toward calm strength and non-attachment is not a single moment, it is a practice. And every time you choose awareness over craving, you move one step closer to lasting peace.